Okay, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and yeah, this is my second preview for today. Obviously, I said in my Sharks season preview that I will do the Dolphins one right after. So yeah, this is the Dolphins. I want to say Redcliffe Dolphins because it sounds so much better and that's what it should be. But it's the Dolphins, and then they're the new franchise into the comp in 2023, and there's no doubt that I'm looking forward to seeing how they do go and combine across the season ahead. But yeah, obviously there's a little bit of things to talk about them, and obviously there's some things they could work on, some things that, you know, maybe they just need to fix a bit more. But look, I think the Dolphins, they seem to have assembled an alright squad, so we'll see how Wayne Bennett goes and being back in the NRL, if he can get this team up and going in their first year. But yeah, no, look, Dolphins are going to be an interesting team to preview, and I can't wait to go through it all and talk about how I think they'll go. So, without further ado, time to get into my Dolphins NRL 2023 season preview. Starting off with the best 1 through 17. Okay, on to my best 1 through 17 for the Dolphins now, and this is interesting because there's so much options to pick from this Dolphins side, or squad I should say, because they've signed a lot of new players in the off-season because they're a new team and they need to do that sort of stuff. I know people have had issues with them poaching or purchasing all these new players and stuff, but they have to do it in reality. But as for how my team looks for the Dolphins and what I'd personally pick only, I would have fullback Hamisa Tabuai-Fidel. On the wings, I'd have Edric Lee and Jermaine Sarko. My centres would also be Ewan Aiken and Oliver Gilder. The halves would be Isaiah Qatar at 5'8", and halfback Sean O'Sullivan. My props would be Jesse Bromwich and Mark Nichols. The hooker Jeremy Marshall-King. Back rows Felice Kafusi and Kenny Bromwich, with the lock being Tom Gilbert. And the bench for me would be Hayden Nikorima, Ray Stone, Jared Wallace, and taking out the last spot on the bench, I would have Herman Esiesi. So yeah, bit controversial to leave out Tessie New and Anthony Milford, but look, I don't think Milford's worth starting. Like, I think he probably will, but look, I think Katoa's the player they need to prioritise a lot more because he's the future, and I think he needs to start immediately. I know that he's young and don't want to rush him in, but look, honestly, right now, I'd have Katoa over Milford, in my personal opinion. And I'd also probably leave out Tessie New but I don't know, knowing the Dolphins, I'd probably play him anyway, but I can't see where he fits really with Aiken and Gilder, their expected centres. But you could chuck him there. But on the wings, it's Edric Lee and Jermaine Sarko, and I can't see that changing either. But whatever the Dolphins do will be interesting. But that's my best 1 to 17 there for that club. On to the club's strengths for 2023. Now, the strengths are a bit of a mystery because I can't identify too much strengths because it's a new side and obviously they're not proven yet or have any sort of idea what their weaknesses or strengths really are. But look at the squad in general. I think what you're going to have to say is their strengths probably have to be through their experience and their signings. Like, some of their signings are not rated by many people, but I think signing guys like Felice Kafusi, the Bromwich brothers, Hamiso, Sean O'Sullivan being a good understudy for Nathan Cleary. You know, even Osaka on his day. Like, I think their recruitment's been pretty good because they're a new squad. Obviously, I have to recruit and stuff. But yeah, as a new team, yeah, they have to recruit for their squad. But look, I think the Dolphins in that area have done well, signing experienced players, and I think, you know, building a forward pack of Nichols, Kafusi, Bromwich brothers, Jared Wallace, Esiesi, and Marshall King at hooker, that's pretty decent in my opinion. Like, obviously not the greatest or best, but I think, yeah, they've definitely done well in recruiting experience and some, you know, big names. But I don't think, look, I don't think they're all great signings, but they're definitely good pick-up sort of fill-ins for the next couple of years for the start of the competition coming in. So that's good. But I think another strength for me has to be probably their coach. I think Wayne Bennett's probably one of the biggest strengths they have, because if they didn't have Wayne Bennett as their coach starting off as a new franchise, then I think Dolphins may have been in a worse situation. But because he's the coach, I think, you know, his ideas will still live on, and you know what Wayne's like, can't write him off. And I think him as a strength in total, being the coach, is big, and he's one of the best coaches in the comp. He may even be the best coach in the comp, potentially. But I think he'll be good for the Dolphins in their first year. He'll do something good for them, I guarantee it. On to the club's weaknesses for 2023, and yeah, there's a lot you can probably say. But it's not like the worst weaknesses, but it's like they're a new team, so that's pretty easy to like sort of figure out if they're a new franchise, I guess. But look, I guess some of the weaknesses for me are, the lack of big names that side. Like I just said, that the Bromwich brothers, Kafusi, Nichols and Hammer are all like reasonable names and are pretty big in their own respect, but not like a Munster, a Ponga, a Cody Walker, or like a Moses type player. Because Dolphins were expected to sign one of those players heading into the new season, which was 2023, but failed to sign any of those players. So I guess they've haven't really got a breakout type player, like haven't got really a star player. I think Isaiah Katoa has potential to be that player who will be like one of their best or one of the top 5, top 10 type players in the future. But look, he's young and I don't expect him to set the world on fire straight away, but he really could if he gets the opportunity at 5'8", which I hope happens over Milford. But look, I guess just having a big name there or no real sort of explosive player probably does hurt. But Hammer can be an explosive player, but just not at a top 5, top 10 type stand type player. So they are missing that big name there, I reckon. But another weakness for me is I don't know, their backs are a bit average, I think. Like Lee, Asako, Gilder, Aiken, O'Sullivan and Hammer at fullback. Like it's not that bad, and I don't think it's terrible, but look, let's be real. It's not a back line that will take you to top 6 or top 8, or it's not really a highly rated type back line. Most of those players were struggling to get contracts or were struggling on form. So I do think that there's a risk in that, but I do think that it's not the worst back line. But yeah, look, I don't know. They don't have too many weaknesses, I guess, but I think just because it's a new team, it's hard to identify every weakness there, but I think what is understandable to say is that they missed out on signing a big name, that's for sure. On to their best signing now. Now, they've literally signed pretty much their whole squad for this year, so it's understandable, but, who you pick as their best signing out of everyone, it's a tough call. It's a tough call, because I haven't really thought about that one. But I think if I'm to pick a best one, and probably the one that will be the biggest for them, I'm going to be different. People are going to expect me to say Hamisa Tabuai Fidel, but I'm going to go Jesse Bromwich. Why? Because Jesse Bromwich is proven as a champion type player, and he's the captain too, as he got recently announced as their captain. Now, look, I get it. Jesse Bromwich hasn't been that explosive or that big the past couple of years, but he's been a fantastic leader and has been consistent. But yeah, he's not an explosive prop or a prop that kills it, but he's no meter eater either. But he offers hard work, he offers a lot of determination to play, and I think Dolphins have a good leader in Jesse Bromwich to at least to steer that club for this year and potentially next year. Because I know he's not far from retirement, Jesse Bromwich, but he's a good player in my opinion, and he will be good for the Dolphins going forward as well. So I think, he's their best signing, but I guess skill-wise and playing-wise, you have to say Hamiso, or maybe Jamal Asako if he performs, or even Sean O'Sullivan if he can replicate that Panthers form as he did when he replaced Cleary during Origin or injury. But I'm going to say Jesse Bromwich because I think his leadership's going to be huge. He's proved that at Melbourne as well. Like he's won a premiership in 2012, 2017, 2020 as well. So he's a three-time premiership winner, and I think that leadership and that sort of winning mentality will benefit Dolphins in a way. So I'd say he's their best signing actually. Biggest loss, eh? Their biggest loss is probably getting rid of the Redcliffe name from their full club name. Like, honestly, what a joke. On to my top 5 Dolphins games now for 2023, in my opinion. So, I've got the draw right in front of me, going to sort of digest and look into it. So, look, round 1, I think I have to have my top 5 Dolphins v Roosters. It's basically the Artie Bateson Cup because he represented both clubs and stuff like that. But It's more because it's their first sort of NRL game in history when you think about it, and playing the Roosters is obviously going to be a tough task, but it's still a special moment. Like, it's their first game in the NRL, and I'm expecting them to turn up and give it a real go. Like, if anything, they'll give it a real go and definitely go and compete. So I think that's a big game when they take on the Roosters in their first game of the season. So that's my top 5. Also, my top 5, I'd say Dolphins Broncos when they play each other, because of all the hype in the off season they've been talking about with all the player poaching and juniors and stuff like that. Because obviously that's going to create a rivalry now, Broncos and Dolphins, because of being so close to each other in the same area around the Brisbane sort of region. So look, and I think the NRL and the game wanted this to be a rivalry in the first place. So Dolphins and Broncos first encounter at Suncorp will be very interesting, because I don't believe the Broncos would be too happy about them playing at Suncorp as well. So yeah, no, that's gonna be big. This is a big one, Dolphins Rabbitohs, because Wayne Bennett coaches against his old club in round 7, but not my top 5. Number three, I'm gonna say maybe Broncos and Dolphins at the Gabba, because obviously Dolphins are playing at the Gabba for the first time, and same with the Broncos playing a home game there, and I think it'll be another spicy game between these two clubs. So I think maybe Broncos and Dolphins second encounter might be in the top 5 too. Number 2, maybe the one against the Knights at Optus Stadium in round 23, because it's a doubleheader with the Sharks and Rabbitohs being the first game, and after that's Dolphins and Knights. So because it's a special occasion and Dolphins are playing in it, I'd say that's one to look out for the Dolphins fans. And the last one I'm going to say is probably going to be last one, eh? Oh, look, maybe when they play for the first time at Redcliffe at the actual real ground. So I'm just trying to look for where they do play at Redcliffe for the first time. Round 2. So Dolphins v Raiders round 2 at KO Stadium, which was the new name change, formerly known as Warden Daly Stadium, obviously. Look, it's their first time playing their real home ground, and I think it'll be a good turnout actually in round 2 when they play Raiders there. So I'd say that's my top 5 games looking forward to for the Dolphins. Okay, on to the player that has to step up the most for the Dolphins in 2023. And I think it's obvious to me. Like, I know you could pick from a lot, but the player that has to step up the most for me is, especially if he's going to play fullback this year and wants to play fullback and lost his spot because of Scott Drinkwater being the fullback for the Cowboys being more preferred. And obviously, this player has that ambition to play fullback and believes he is a good fullback, and that's his position going forward. But there's only one way to prove that, and he needs to play well at fullback for the Dolphins, and that's Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. So I believe he's one player that has to step up. I mean, yes, he lost his spot, and obviously losing his spot was a thing I never expected coming into 2022, not at all. And I never thought he would leave the Cowboys, but there you go, he's left the Cowboys for a better opportunity at the Dolphins to play in his preferred position at the fullback role. I know Tessie News there, so I guess not all guaranteed his fullback position, but look, you think he'll start the year there anyway, as he did go to the club to play fullback. So whatever Dolphins do with him, it'll be interesting. But look, I think he needs to step up, because if he's claiming that fullback's his best position and he wants to go well there, well, he needs to prove to the Dolphins and in the game that, you know, it's his real position going forward. So I believe it's a big year for Hammer. He needs to step up. And on to my final prediction for the Dolphins in 2023. Look, no doubt it's going to be an interesting year for the Dolphins and a very big year for them, because it's their first year in the NRL. And look, as a non-Dolphins fan, obviously, as you know, I'm a Manly fan, because I can all tell. But like, I just think it'll be a big year for the Dolphins, and I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing how the ride goes with that club for 2023. No doubt there's going to be some tough times, but there'll be some good times as well with Wayne Bennett's your coach. So I think Dolphins will have an all right season, I believe. But again, it's going to be a process. Not everything is going to come off the bat straight away and be good. So definitely things will take time. But look, I hope Dolphins go well. But where I reckon I'll finish in 2023, I have the Dolphins finishing 15th, so better than coming last, I guess, where everyone else has them finishing. But look, I think 15th is respectable, because they're unknown and they still have a bit of things to work on, but they're not too far off from being a really good side, I believe. But, you know, with Wayne Bennett as coach and Christian Wolf, the former St. Helens coach, coming in as an assistant, and Nathan Feen being the other assistant, you know, that's a pretty good that's a pretty good gathering of minds there for the game. So, you know, I think that could help Dolphins as well with having those coaches there. But look, I think Dolphins will take time, and I think 15th is where I believe they'll finish. But it could be something different, and hopefully they go well either way. But look, that's my NRL 2023 season preview on the Dolphins. Now, I enjoy doing the Dolphins because they're a new side, and look, it's always good to talk about a new franchise, and I enjoy talking about the Dolphins as, you know, a lot's expected. But until then, thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts on the Dolphins coming to 2023. And I will see you all in the next preview tomorrow.